One European country is kissing an old tradition goodbye, at least temporarily. We're going to explain the reason why in today's edition of CNN Student News. Hello, everyone. I'm Carl Lazus. First up, protesters take to the streets of Washington as the Tea Party Express rolls into town. This thing is an actual bus, but it's also a group that's speaking out against what it sees as out-of-control government spending. It's been using the bus to spread that message at rallies across the country. Saturday, the Express pulled into D.C., where a crowd of demonstrators marched to the steps of the U.S. Capitol and protested against things like higher taxes and parts of President Obama's health care reform plan. Meanwhile, the president spent part of the weekend pushing for that reform in general. At a rally in Minnesota, he said the health care plan he proposed last week will help people who don't have insurance and help people who do. He also said the country is closer to reform than ever before. On Friday, the president took part in a memorial at the Pentagon on the 8th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. It was just one of many ceremonies marking this event. Memorials at the former site of the World Trade Center in New York included a moment of silence. The city's mayor also praised the newly established National Day of Service and Remembrance. Half a world away, U.S. troops in Afghanistan held ceremonies as well, honoring the lives of those people killed on 9/11 and service members who have died in battle since then. In California, firefighters gathered at a memorial on Saturday to honor two of their own. Ted Hall and Arnie Quinones were killed last month trying to find an escape route for their crew while battling the station fire. During his speech at the ceremony, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger praised the two men and their courage. The station fire has been burning since August 26th. It is the largest blaze in the history of Los Angeles County, but as of Saturday evening, it was about 84% contained. That same state, California, offered a landing strip for the Space Shuttle Discovery on Friday as its crew returned from the 13-day mission to the International Space Station. Normally, the shuttle would touch down at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, but bad weather scrapped those plans. There is a downside to landing on the West Coast. It adds an extra week and an extra $1 million to get the shuttle back to Florida and ready for its next mission.
See if you can ID me. I'm a European country that's a little smaller than the state of Texas. I was established as a nation more than 1,100 years ago. My current president is Nicolas Sarkozy. I'm France, and I'm home to about 62 million people.
And it's a country that seems comfortable showing its affection. Case in point, how many of those millions say hello, la bis, or that double cheek kiss? But the French government's asking its citizens to bid adieu to la bis because it wants to help prevent the spread of a potentially dangerous virus. Jim Bitterman examines the possibilities of passing on puckering up.
It has not gone without notice that France is a land which puts a certain value on physical contact. Hands get shaken, hands get kissed. Business leaders kiss business leaders. Politicians kiss politicians. It is part of the social fabric here, woven in at the very youngest age. Pigs would fly, one observer said in effect, before the French could ever give up such social graces. But then, swine flu. From official publicity campaigns about the way the virus can multiply to directives to avoid practically any close encounters of the corporal kind, the country is being put on alert as the flu season gets underway. In schools, it's being called the kissless return to class. Teachers are telling their young charges that instead of doing the bis, as French cheek kisses are called, they should greet each other the way Indians do in the movies, with the word how. Or the French equivalent thereof, and save their displays of affection in kiss boxes. Restraint that's somewhat easier to sell to the really young than their older brothers and sisters. But some things are selling, namely masks, which in themselves would pretty well discourage just about any sort of kissing. And bottle after bottle of antiseptic hand wash to avoid the nightmare of unintended viral transmission. At a phone bank set up by the Ministry of Health, they're getting 1,000 calls a day from all over the country, from people who want to know the symptoms and what to do when they've got them. As for physical contact, the recommendations are clear.
No shaking hands, no kissing.
So, does this mean the flu will stop tradition cold? A French expert observes that her countrymen do not always do as they're told.
So if it's really important and if there are rules in the offices or if they get very scared, they will. But otherwise, they'll say, pfft.
A word to the wise. Conversion. A change from one religion, belief, or viewpoint to another.
One Ohio teen's conversion has gained national attention and raised a bit of controversy. The 17-year-old ran away to Florida because she says her parents threatened her after she converted from Islam to Christianity. The parents say that accusation's untrue. Now a judge has gotten involved in the situation. Susan Candiotti has her details.
If there's one thing all sides agree on,
and I'm fighting for my life, you guys don't understand. They don't understand.
It's that Ohio teen runaway Rivka Berry appears to be one frightened girl.
They have to kill me.
She says her parents want to kill her for converting from Islam to Christianity.
Your daughter says that at one point you held up a laptop and said, "I'm going to kill you."
It's not at all true. It's not at all true. I have never hit my child.
Rivka's parents say the 17-year-old first talked about being a Christian at age 14 to get babysitting jobs.
We did not fight over it. We just asked and then that's end of it.
A couple of years later, Rivka joined internet Christian prayer groups, including this one on Facebook, run by a college missionary student.
She shared with me her testimony of how she became a Christian.
Brian Williams says he sometimes met the teenager at a prayer group near Ohio State University and baptized her at her request. Williams says after Rivka's dad allegedly threatened her, she announced on Facebook she was running away. Rivka's parents insist she's free to be a Christian. They say they even allowed their daughter to be a high school cheerleader wearing short skirts and no headscarf. An anti-Muslim extremist group, the Florida Security Council, says Rivka's case deserves all the attention it can get.
Publicity is a double-edged sword. On one sense, the story's getting out, and more people are in this position and seeing it, and she wants the story out. So the positive benefits outweigh the negative possibilities of a sudden jihad syndrome, jihadi running around and trying to kill her.
At the family's Ohio mosque, supporters insist they don't advocate honor killing and say it's not in the Quran.
I really fear that the longer this goes on and the more hype and hoopla and things there is, the more difficult it's going to be for her to reconcile with her family in the future.
I want to say to my daughter, I love you. I want you to come back home. It's safe for you. Nobody will harm you.
A Florida juvenile court judge has sealed a long investigative report looking into the alleged threat. But instead of scheduling a trial, that judge has instead ordered all sides to get together for a mediation to try to work things out.
We thought that report might get you talking. You heard a lot of perspectives in it. We want to hear yours. What do you think about Rivka's conversion and the controversy that followed? Do you think the judge's idea of getting everyone together to try and work things out is going to be effective? And what sort of solution would you have had? You can weigh in with your thoughts on all of this at our blog. You'll find that at cnnstudentnews.com. And remember, please use only your first names because your first names are all we need. Well, before we go today, it's something that it kind of seemed like a good idea at first. It's one zoo's creative way to beat the heat. A giant popsicle. From the looks of this leopard, it's a great idea. You'd think that massive mound of ice would be enough for multiple leopards. But when another cat wants in, things turn ugly. Yeah, that's not the face of someone who wants to share his popsicle. Seriously, back off. It's your last warning. All right, that's it. It's on. Now, if you think this is really odd that you would have all this sort of discord over a simple popsicle, you got to understand that some people can be so catty. We are going to turn tail and run for now. We will be back tomorrow with more CNN Student News. Hope to see you then. I'm Carl Azuz.